So I've been getting a lot of questions about what happened last week. I mean, I showed you there was a banana in the closet. What has happened to that banana? Let's go ahead and see. So apparently they've multiplied. We've discovered that bananas multiply when you put them in the closet. But now it's time we talk about something a bit more serious, and this is how we can format f-strings in many different ways. I mean, we're used to formatting f-strings with the basic syntax. We put f in front of some quotation marks, but there's still a lot that a lot of Python developers do not know about f-strings, and maybe it's part of the basic documentation, but a lot of us never thought about reading it. So in this video, I'm going to show you more than 10 different ways that you can format strings in Python using the f-string. And these are some really cool formatting tricks, so I definitely recommend you follow along for this video. Now we're going to be starting with the very basics. So we're going to have a number of type float, and this is going to equal, let's say, 1000 or 10,000, and it's going to have 6 decimal places after the 1000. So right now we have one of the most ugly numbers in the universe, and we're going to see how we can format that later. But I also want to show you that we can do something with text as well. So this is just going to equal a sample text, so we can see how that gets affected. Now the first thing we're going to do is talk about text alignment in f-strings. So for example, if you create an f-string and you go ahead and insert this text variable inside here, you can say whether you want to align it to the left, to the right, or whatever you want. If you go ahead and insert a number such as 20 here, it's going to align the text to the left, which you wouldn't really notice unless you added some text here, such as hello. As you can see, it's going to occupy 20 characters of space inside here for this variable. Now, if you put something that is less than the variable length, it's just going to use the normal space. This is the minimum. So if the variable is longer than the space you want to occupy, it's going to override that. But let's keep that at 20. And if you want a visual clue that this is going to the left, just add an arrow. And the reason this makes sense is because now when you go ahead and add a right arrow, for example, you're going to see sample taking 20 characters of space and it's going to be pushed to the right. So this is the right alignment. And you can do the same thing with the up arrow. If you add that, it's going to center it in the 20 characters of space. So that's the first tip and trick you should be aware of when you're working with formatted strings, is that you can align the text depending on what you want to print. Now that was cool and all, but there's something else you should know about this, and we're going to copy that, paste it directly under, because what you should know is that you can also add symbols. So you can add an underscore, or you can add, let's say, an asterisk, or you can add some crazy symbol. Let's go ahead and hold Option, such as this, and whatever symbol you decide to insert will be placed at the end of the remaining space, or it will fill the space that's empty. So this actually works for all three of them. You can do it to the right, you can do it to the left, or you can do it in the center, and the output is going to look like this. You're going to see for the first one that we're filling the space with the underscores at the end, and for the second one it will be on the left side, and then the empty spaces in between for this final one over here. And again, you can use whatever symbol you want. You can add an @ symbol if you want, and it will fill the remaining space with that. And it's just fun because you can style your text in weird ways with less code. But that just about covers styling text. Now let's go ahead and see how we can style the number. So we still have this number that is incredibly ugly. And what we're going to do inside here is find out how we can style it in a nice way. So the first way we're going to style it is by reducing the decimals, because right now it's far too many decimals and will look bad when we print it. So here we'll go ahead and print the number followed by how many decimal places we want it to be reduced to. So for example, 2f.2f is going to reduce it to 2 decimal spots. And you can even add a 4 if you want. You can add 0 if you want. Whatever you want. This just tells you that we are formatting the decimal places. And very similar to this one right here, let's change that back to 2, is adding a %sign. So in case you have some sort of percentage you are calculating, you can add the %sign and it's going to round the %. And as you can see, it even converted whatever number you had to a %. So instead of 10,000, it actually became 1,012%. Now, with something like this, it gets quite annoying because you have to count how many zeros there are and you don't really know if it's a million or 100,000, it becomes quite big. So one very good tip is to go ahead and add a comma in front of the dot. So if you go ahead and run this, you'll see it's going to automatically separate the values so we can easily tell that it is 1 million. And this does not require you to have a decimal place at the end. As you can see, we can also type in 10,000 and it will still separate it. But you can use it in combination with either the formatting to F and the formatting to %. So as you can see here, now we have the dot to F for the 2 decimal places and it's still formatted the 10,000. So it's pretty cool that you can just go ahead and add a comma for big numbers. It just makes it easier to read. Now let's go ahead and remove these and change this number to 1 million, for example. So here we have 1 million and I use the underscores to make it easier to understand. And what we're going to do is print this in scientific notation because it's quite a big number and we don't really care about showing the entire number. We want to shorten it. So here we can go ahead and say number, and what we're going to do is just add 0.0e. And by running this, it's going to give us the scientific notation of the number. And if you left it as a simple e, it's going to convert it to a decimal for some reason. I don't really like that when it's a whole number such as this one. But to solve that, you just go ahead and add 0.0 because that tells it that we want it to format itself to 0 decimal places. So that's how you get a clean scientific notation output. And the final formatting we're going to cover is with the dates. So here we're going to go ahead and say current date is equal to datetime.datetime.datetime. No, I'm just joking. .now. So now we get the current date here. And here we're going to go ahead and print the formatted string of current date. And we need to format it here how we want the date to actually show itself. So we're going to use something such as a %d to show the day, followed by a %m, and whatever you put in between these percents is going to be just a normal string character. So, and then we're going to show the entire year, so uppercase Y, and we want to show the hour, followed by the minutes, followed by the second. So if we go ahead and run this, you'll see that we will get the current date formatted as we wanted it to be formatted. You can add whatever you want in between the time or between the dates, and it's going to format it the way you want it to be formatted. Now there's just one more thing I have to cover, and this was a common question in one of my shorts. So here we're going to go ahead and say number is equal to 100 and number 2 is equal to, let's say, 10. So let's go ahead and make sure that says number, and let's go ahead and print the formatted string of the number. Now someone in the shorts comment section was asking, how do we add number 2 inside here? Because we can't just go ahead and type in number 2. And it's actually quite funny. All you have to do is go ahead and add some extra curly brackets inside, and you will create this curly bracket inception, because whatever you write inside here is now considered a string. So you need to once again format inside the formatting. And when you go ahead and run that, you'll get number pushed 10 spaces to the right. And you can do the same thing as from earlier. You can push it to the left if you want, and it will work exactly the same way as from earlier. And this also works with the symbols. So again, just have fun with this. There's so many different things you can do with formatting strings. A lot of people are going to tell you this looks complicated, but use it for your personal code. Have fun with it. And if I happen to miss something, I would love to hear it in the comment section down below. Do share some cool tips on how you can print strings. It's just fun to know in case you want to do it, of course. But as always, guys, with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.